Welcome back to the Grace Fueled Family podcast. Today we're talking about what are you invested in, and it comes from a discussion we had at a restaurant the other night with the couple sitting next to us who issued us a bit of a warning, didn't they? And so we're going to share that story with you and give you 6 simple things you can do this week to check your investments. And we're not talking about money, we're talking about growing your family.
Yeah, so the other night we were out for dinner at a restaurant, and when we go out places, we often pray for opportunities to reach out to people or talk to people, or just missional, be Jesus' hands and feet, a way to encourage someone, etc. Well, the other night we were sitting next to this couple, and their daughter came, or the lady's daughter came with her baby, and so we're talking about babies because we've got a 6-month-old, and then as she left, we ended up starting to talk to this couple, and they had overheard that we had 5 kids, and so we started talking about kids and families, and what sports our kids are in, and we're talking a bit about their family, and what they did and what their grandkids did, etc., etc. And so it started the discussion about. It was at a surf lifesaving club, and it started the discussion about, what clubs are your kids in? And so we talked about how, one kid likes bike riding, another child likes basketball, and the other children are seeming they might follow in basketball as well. And we talked about how we would eventually like to, once our life calms down a bit as our kids get older. I don't know if that's a funny idea, but we really talked about how we'd like to get involved in our kids' clubs and, the sport clubs. And it was at that moment that the lady doubly warned us, didn't she?
Yeah.
Just be careful. And we're like, kind of talked through that a little bit. And it turned out that both of them had been part of previous marriages, and they had really sold their lives out for this surf club. And the guy actually said, I actually was too invested in the club, and it actually let his marriage fall apart. And then as we continued to talk about it, she warned us again, just be really careful. And it was a really interesting discussion, and we kind of walked away and was like, wow, isn't that interesting how something that can start out really good can actually affect your family as well. And it really got us talking, didn't it, about, it's really important to know what are you invested in and what do you invest your time in.
So we sort of went away and we were thinking about it, and we were like, what are the 6 things that you can invest in this week so that you can check in with how you're going and making sure that you're not investing in things above and beyond where you should. Okay, so number 1 thing for this week that you can do is take an audit of all the things that you're investing in and have a look at how much time each of those are taking. Are they taking too much? Have you overcommitted? How might you be able to simplify? So look at the sports clubs you're a part of, look at your work, look at your phone use, your TV, how much you're investing into your relationship with God. These don't have to be all negative things. They can be positive as well. But is there anything that needs to change? Is there anything that needs to increase? Is there anything that needs to decrease? And it's not that these things are necessarily bad in and of themselves. Usually, it's actually the opposite. It's not like we go out and we try to do destructive things and cause trouble. Usually, they're actually good things. But sometimes in the good, we lose sight of what's most important to us.
Yeah, my nana actually reminded me of a quote my nana said to me years ago, and I've never forgotten it. And it says, sometimes we need to sacrifice the good on the altar of the best.
Yeah.
And it's always stuck with me, that quote, because sometimes we can just settle in the good and don't always look to what's actually best. And so, yeah.
We've used that quote as a yardstick for a lot of decisions over time, particularly when you're involved in groups, churches, sporting clubs, etc. Everything's good to do, but is it actually what's best for you in your situation at the time?
Yeah. Well, number 2.
Yeah.
This week, our challenge to you and ourselves, but our challenge is to check in with your husband or wife this week. How are they doing personally? How is your marriage doing?
Yeah, it's kind of what we did immediately afterwards when we left the restaurant. We
Mm.
sort of said, "Oh, how are we doing? Like, are we overcommitting somewhere where we shouldn't be? What does it look like? What is working for us?" And we had a bit of a check in. So check in with your husband or wife
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, Another one, I think it's always important that we're spending time with our kids, that we're checking in with our kids, that we're finding out how they're feeling and how they're fitting into the family. So, challenge this week: check in with each of your kids. Are they doing okay? Are they thriving in life at the moment? Relationship and connection is what's going to keep your kids and your team strong together and connected.
Yeah.
Um,
It also depends on the amount of children you have too. You might have one, you might have up to five. I don't really. We have five. You might have seven. You might have eight. I don't really know how many children you've got, but it's really important actually to check in with each one of them. And sometimes it can be hard. And so we've actually in our home had to think of different ways and be creative in how we do that. And some different ways that we've thought about when you tuck them into bed at night, just spend the pause for a few
Yeah,
moments
it's
and
literally a few minutes. Check in
yeah,
how they're going.
and just talk to them. How was your day? Is
Yeah,
there anything you need to tell me, etc., etc. Another one is often I will get, or I encourage you to get, if you can handle it, have a child come and help you when you're cooking dinner. And that's a really great way. They might help you cut some things up or things like that. A really great way to be able to just casually have a conversation with them, but to really check in with
yeah.
them as you're
Putting family
doing
team
that.
nights in was also, we do highs and lows as part of our family team nights. And so that was a big way for us to check in as a whole family and find out how we're all doing and where we're investing and what's going on.
Yeah.
Some,
Another way that I know that people do is to have little dates with their kids, and they take one of them out. It could just be even for a milkshake. It could be something really basic. It could be sometimes when I'm meeting with one of my kids, it might be because I've got to go buy them shoes or something
yeah,
like that. Like it can be just practical life things, but just doing it with them.
Yeah, we have like a bit of a thing in our house, I guess you could call it a rule, where whenever one of us goes out, we take a kid with us. And that's sometimes you say who wants to come and you get one, sometimes you get four or five if you're home by yourself. But like by taking one or two, you actually get some tighter time to invest in a smaller number than what we do. It also gives the kid an opportunity to see life and how life happens. I know it's heaps easier to go to the shops by yourself,
Much easier.
but if we're growing young people to be big people, well, teaching them how to shop is actually an important skill in that. And so doing that one on one or with just a couple of them is something we find really helpful. And it's a way of making sure you're investing in each of your kids.
Yeah, so challenge this week to check in specifically with each one of your kids
Yeah.
this week.
Number 4, this is a funny one. This sort of came out of prayer, so I don't know who's it's for, but investing in forgiveness this
Yeah.
week. I think it's so easy in relationships to build up resentment about things, not helping enough around the house, spending too much time at work when they don't need to, going to a social event by themselves, whatever it might be. Kids not putting their shoes away. You can build up resentment with these things. And so we felt that one of them, number 4, is to forgive, to let go of any bitter roots, anything that's happening in your family that might bring separation in a relationship.
Because
So,
sometimes it can stop you investing in
yeah,
that family member or in the family team, because you are building that. Sometimes not even, it's a subconscious thing. You don't even realize you're doing it, but there's that subconscious bitter root growing because there's a bit of unforgiveness.
yeah,
And grace-filled families, we're all about grace, and part of grace is to show grace, and forgive other people, and also show grace to yourself,
yeah.
and recognize too that there is that need for forgiveness as well.
So if you find that there is something, our first step, we would encourage you just to pray. Pray about it. Ask God for the solution forward, and He will reveal what that might be. And then forgiveness. And sometimes that forgiveness is your own thing that you need to forgive. Forgive yourself. Give yourself grace. Sometimes it's someone else. And then sometimes it's someone else with that conversation with them and extending grace to them and having the big discussion. I think there's a guy at work who had a saying, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head right now, but It's basically ruin a day to save a year. That's the actual quote. Ruin a day to save a year. Basically, have that hard chat about what's going on so that it doesn't fester and become a bitter root. And in a year's time, it's come to a point where it's really hard to fix. So that was number 4, forgiveness. Number 5, that's investing time in your relationship with God through Bible reading and prayer. Personally, in your marriage and as a family. And I think one of the keys to that, one of the keys to the kingdom is gratitude and thankfulness. So spend some time in the Word, spend some time praying, spend some time being really thankful. Be thankful for your family, be thankful for your house, your car, everything you've got. Be thankful for your job, and just spend time in prayer and in God's Word this week, and invest in that. That's in an investment in yourself and your relationship with God.
So a little someone wake up and wants to join us. This is Eliana, our youngest little cherub, who we love dearly. So let's hope I can do this video without her crying. We'll see how we go. So 6th, final one. This week, we challenge you to invest in yourself. Exercise, a hobby, going out for coffee with someone, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Spend some time investing in yourself, because when you invest in yourself, you then have the energy and the strength and the joy to then invest in other people around you and invest in your family. The other day, I went out walking with our dog, Spencer, and I walked past the neighbor, and she always goes walking, like all the time, and her husband's actually really sick at the moment, and I have spoken to her before. I'm like, I always see you walking, and she's like, yeah, it's actually my sanity walk. And so when she saw me walking the other day, she stopped me and she's like, oh, are you out for your sanity walk? I said, yes, I'm out of there, I'm going for a walk. But it actually was great. I mean, I didn't actually leave in a way, I wasn't actually upset or anything at the time. I just needed to take the dog for a walk, but it actually was great. I came home, those endorphins really helped my mind, and it was great. And so then I was actually able to invest in the family even better. So challenge this week: invest in yourself. What can you do to invest in yourself this week?
Cool. So there's the 6. 1, check your investments. What are you doing? 2, check in with your husband or wife. 3, check in with each of your children. 4, invest in forgiveness. 5, invest in a relationship with God. And 6, invest in yourself. And so we'll throw those challenges out to you. You might get them all done this week, or it might be a couple of weeks where you get to sit with this and think through this. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you want more of what we're offering. And also, a little gift, head to www.gracefueledfamilies.com and get your free 5-day insight guide, which will help you to understand your family better, your marriage better, your family values better, and set you up growing as the team that you are. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. God bless.
God bless. See you later.
Say bye.
Bye.